Are you starting the home buying process but want to know how much you can afford? Let's find out. Some lenders will qualify you based on the absolute max you can afford. And there's a big problem with this. It sets you up to fail. When we qualify, we don't take into account electric bills, groceries, and just general life things. You never want to be house poor, and max qualifying sets you up for just that. One of the factors we consider when qualifying you for a mortgage loan is your debt to income ratio. So I'm going to show you exactly how to calculate your debt to income. I'm going to tell you what to look out for and what I look out for. Keep in mind, I'm not underwriting your file or anything like that. This is just easy math for you if you're budgeting and starting the home buying process. It's important to know your debt to income. So let's get into this. With your debt to income, there's two big things to think about: front end ratio and your back end ratio. Whenever we're calculating your debt to income, we're going to be calculating your gross income. So let's just say your gross monthly income before taxes and Uncle Sam takes their piece is $30,000 per month. Now, if last year you didn't do any overtime, or in this year you are, don't use that overtime, because we're going to do a 2-year average of that overtime. You want to be as conservative as possible in your numbers. So let's just say you want to buy a house and the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance is $900 a month. On top of that, you have $200 a month in credit cards. You have a $150 car payment. To figure out your front end ratio, we're going to take the estimated monthly payment, which in this case is $900 a month, divided by the $3,000, which gives you a front end ratio of 30%. Now, we're going to do the $900 plus what you have in credit cards and your car payment, divided by your gross monthly income of $3,000, which gives you 42%. So in this example, your debt to income is 30 for the front end and a back end of 42. These numbers are usually where I try and advise my clients to be. Keep that front end around 20 to 30. If you listen to Dave Ramsey, he'll say keep that front end at or below 20. However, in New York State, for example, that's pretty difficult to do with taxes. There are programs that will certainly go higher, sometimes up to 55% on the back end. That is something I definitely wouldn't advise. I don't want you to be house poor, right? Going up to that 50, 55 back end doesn't leave much room for life things like internet, gas, cable, food. So stuff that goes into the back end ratio is the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, including everything on your credit report. The minimum monthly payment on those credit cards, student loans, car payments, those things. This does not take into account utility bills, childcare, unless it's VA. So there's one thing I mentioned here that would be included in your back end ratio. And it's something that most of my clients have, and it's the student loans. And the first question I always get asked is, well, if I have student loans, I don't think I can afford a house. And the short answer is, yes, you can. You can certainly buy a house with student loans, but the key is how the payment is being calculated. So let's say student loans are in deferment, or they're in an income-based repayment plan. In this case, I have to calculate 0.5% of the student loan balance. Up until recently, it was 1%, but now it's just that 0.5%. And let's say you have $20,000 in student loans. When you take 0.5% of $20,000, that comes to $100 per month. So I have to count that $100 per month against you. Now let's use the same example I just talked about, right? Where you're grossing $3K per month, your estimated monthly payment is $900 a month, you have credit cards and the car payment, right? When you add in the student loans, the back end ratio would then become 45, which in this case, it'd be totally fine. That would work. Now I want to show you some problems I run into when the debt to income is too high. Let's say you make $5,000 per month and you want to buy a house that's, let's say, $2,500 a month. You have a really sick car that's $900 a month, and you have a bunch of credit cards because you like to shop, and it's $700 a month. So I'll calculate this out and show you why I'm going to say no. The front end is going to be 50%. That's half of the gross income going to housing only. The back end in this scenario is going to be 82%. These ratios just kind of show you that this person is living way outside their means, and they won't be able to survive with that 82% back end ratio. Because the big thing here is that $5K is pre-tax. So this is a recipe for failure, and this person would not qualify with these ratios. So if you have questions on debt to income and how it's calculated, or if you have student loans and want to move forward with getting pre-qualified, my contact information is right at the end of this video.